shot of the vibrant skyline of Tokyo. I just really want to go there one day. It's so beautiful. And there is the Tatsumi International Swim Center, where day 2 of the Pan Pacific Championships have concluded. You're watching Deck Pass Live. Hello, everybody. I am Jeff Commings with my co-host Amy Van Dyken. And night 1 was great. Night 2 had a lot of exciting storylines as well. Some good, some bad. But a good night for the Americans, 9 medals, and a really good gold medal haul there. Ryan Murphy and Haley Flickener winning some gold medals. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But it's really interesting how the dynamic of this team has been throughout the meet because, they've been not just trying to swim for Team USA, get a lot of medals, but they're trying to qualify for the World Championships. And it's just really interesting to see how it plays into everybody's racing because you're not just thinking about the athletes from other countries in the pool. You're thinking about, well, where is my teammate doing right now? Because if he beats me, I may not be on the World Championship team. Right, and this is something that we have talked about a lot on Deck Pass Live is the different selection that we're having for World Championships. And I think, after this meet, everyone will take a look at this and see, was it the right decision or was it not? And we'll definitely hear from some of the athletes, I'm sure, on this topic. Yeah, so let's get started with analyzing some races, and we're going to start with really, I think was the big race of the night, the men's 100 backstroke. We have the reigning Olympic champion and world record holder Ryan Murphy right there getting set, and we had some people that he knows very well. We had Raisuke Irie in lane number 3 to his left, Matt Grievers to his right, and after a great prelim swim for Ryan, he was 52-1 in prelims. Obviously, he was on world record alert, and when Ryan Murphy takes it out first at the 25 on 100 backstroke, he's on fire. And look at him right there. Obviously, he's ahead in the middle of your screen, and how much faster his turnover is than Matt Grievers, who is right below him right now. And when we look at the top of it, Matt Grievers will be on the right of him. But Ryan Murphy literally turning over like crazy and pulling so much water. It's so fun to watch him. It is amazing to watch him. And he was 2 100s under his world record pace at the 50. Really just turning away. Look at that. He's got 3/4 of body lengths lead over Irie and Grievers, and also in lane number 6, Mitch Larkin, who's been a great 100 backstroker. And he's right on that world record line and a few strokes into the wall. Maybe not the best finish. He had to lunge a little bit too much. 9 100s off, and it's still a great time. 51.94. He is the only swimmer under 52 in the world this year, so he's got to have a lot of confidence about that. And Ryan talked about that race afterwards.
Coming in here, my goal was to win and try to go best times. So I, went into the race, had great competition. Irie swam great, Larkin swam great, Grievers was great. So, to come out on top in a field like that was a great accomplishment for me, and hope I could keep that momentum going through to the 200 and coming out of this meet as well.
And like he said, I think he's going to have a great 200 backstroke, which is more of his event anyway. Well, exactly. I mean, he has always been a 200 backstroke. This 100 backstroke, I think he does more for fun. But listen, I love his interviews, and I love how he gives credit to his competitors. It's just really neat because really those are the people that are pushing him to get those gold medals and those world records. And he's raced them so many times. So he knows that on any given day, they could probably beat him, and they have before. So he knows that, it's not just, hard work and luck. He's got to know that they're going to be gunning for him, especially since he's a world record holder. They know that he knows he's got a target on his back. And speaking of that world record, he's got another chance in the medley relay on Sunday to break that world record because leading off any relay, it could count as a world record. And he did that at the Olympics. That's when he broke that world record. Right. So I think he's got in his mind knowing that he knows what he may have done wrong in that 100, little chances to fix it. Exactly. And like you said, Jeff, when you do lead off a relay, be it the medley relay or a free relay, that first leg, because you are doing a regular flat start, not a relay start, it does count as an individual event. So we will definitely be on world record watch. Yep. So speaking of world record watch, we were on world record watch for this women's 100 backstroke. We had Kathleen Baker right there, the current world record holder, going up against the former world record holder, Kylie Moss, who was the top qualifier, and also Emily Seebohm from Australia, who's been phenomenal in the backstrokes in the past few years. And, these three didn't really separate themselves very much from the pack, which made me believe that maybe all three of them were thinking, I'm going to back half this 100.
And Kathleen Baker loves to back half the 100 for sure. So maybe they were all going with her strategy, because right here they're all ahead of world record pace. Not a bad strategy going into the wall.
And then they get in the wall, they're a little bit behind it. So I was thinking back, okay, somebody's going to really force this back half. But none of these three ladies, Baker, Moss, or Seebohm, broke away. So, all the way to final 25, you couldn't tell who was going to win.
No, it was interesting to watch Kathleen Baker as well, because when she broke the world record at Nationals, she looked so high in the water. She looked like she was sitting up, and right here she doesn't look as high in the water. So, is that from fatigue? Is it from, all the travel? I don't know, but it was still a good race for her.
It's still a good race. Colleen Moss got the win. Seebohm was second, and Baker was third there. And Reagan Smith in there for fourth, the talented teenager. So Kathleen Baker got to talk about her race afterwards.
I mean, I went out there and did my best. The time wasn't exactly what I was hoping for, but I mean, I'm racing the very best in the world. It was the same podium as it was last year at Worlds with the same two other girls, and I think we really push each other, and it's great that I come to Pan Pacs and I'm really racing the best backstrokers.
So again, Kathleen has the 200 backstroke later, and Emily Seebohm will be a force to be reckoned with in that one. And again, like we said with Ryan, Kathleen gets a chance to kind of make this up when she gets to the medley relay, get to redeem herself.
Exactly, and maybe then we will see a 57 in the 100 backstroke for women, which would be really exciting. Something that she said there in that interview really quickly was she was talking about how it was the same people on the podium at World Championships. I think it will be the same people at World Championships again, but let's just hope that Kathleen goes from over here to way up here.
Yeah, right on the top of the podium.
Right.
That would be really good for the United States. All right, so this is the race we're going to talk about next, that you were really looking forward to, the women's 100 freestyle. I was excited about it. Just look at that field. We have Valerie Commerford, Simone Manuel, Kate Campbell, and after Campbell's 50.93 relay split yesterday, I just had a feeling something was going to be very good. But the past couple of years, she hasn't been having very good individual swims. Everybody remember famously that Olympics where she was out under world record pace and then couldn't hold on, and Simone went right by her. But right here, I think Kate was maybe being a little bit more conservative, and so she would have something on the back half.
Well, I think what she's doing, perhaps, is looking at Simone and saying, listen, I don't want to take it out so much faster than her because I need to have a lot in the tank to bring it home, and Simone always brings it home so well. Maybe that was the thought process, and then right here she said, you know what, forget it, let's go.
Yeah, and right here at the 75 is usually where Kate was kind of struggling the past couple of years, but she keeps pulling away. And Taylor Ruck down there in lane number 6 doing very well. And Simone thinks she's going to catch her, but Kate's saying no way today.
And I love Simone Manuel's long strokes into the wall. It just is kind of a traditional her, if you will, and I love watching it.
And Kate Campbell's time, 52.03, the second fastest in history, just behind Sarah Sjöström's world record. It's a good swim for Simone. 52.6 is a little slower than Nationals, and got to mention Valerie Commerford in there for fourth, a really good swim for her. And Simone talked about her race with us.
It was okay. I definitely would have liked to do better, but it's a learning experience, and hopefully I can do better in the years to come. The team dynamic has been great. I mean, we've been having a good time with each other, but it is a little difficult because a lot of people's mind is on making the World Championship team. So it's kind of like you're going ahead with your teammates, but you also want to do well for Team USA. But we've been having a lot of fun with each other, and I think that's the most important.
And then last question.
And, it is really interesting that Simone mentioned that team dynamic that we were talking about. I felt that before the competition. They were all Snapchatting and Instagram storying and having a really good time. And now it's really slowed down a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that is because they are a team, but they're all still competing against each other. And I think that it's really hard to gel when you're still competing against people in such a big way. I mean, it's World Championships. So I love that she said that. She's very honest. Love her.
Yeah, and again, as we've said before, it's just such a quick turnaround from Nationals. They just they didn't have that time in training camp to really gel. You just have like 4 or 5 days, I think, before they went to Tokyo. And that's not enough time. Remember at the Olympics, they have 2-3 weeks, and that's plenty of time for everybody to get to know each other and work on dynamics, and the captains can start to understand what they need to do to make this team the best they can be. So hopefully, for World Championships, they'll be able to do that, because we're going to definitely need this to be the best team that can be.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's why they're picking it the way that they're picking it. But something interesting actually happened in the men's 100 freestyle when we are talking about the World Championship team. And I know you and I have been talking a lot about this race.
Yeah, so let's take a look at the final final of the men's 100 freestyle and featured a lot of big names. Kyle Chalmers, the reigning Olympic champion, and Caleb Dressel right there, the reigning world champion. Chalmers in 3, Dressel in 5, and Dressel had his trademark great start out there in the lead. But you know what? He did not have the firepower after this first 25 because people started to catch him. And I just said, oh my gosh, this is not going to be a great swim for Caleb because he's usually in the lead at the 50, and he was 3rd.
Yeah, it's so unusual to see him coming from behind, and you look there at Apple up there ahead of him as well, which you're like, wait a minute, no, Caleb should be first, but at the end, we'll see what happens here.
And I think the major thing on Caleb's mind was not just getting the win, but beating Zack Apple because he had to make sure he secured his spot on the World Championship team. And also, he knew that because he was 6th at Nationals, he had to get a higher time. And so he was probably not focused on the fact that Kyle Chalmers just won the race, 48.00. And then there's Caleb in a tie for second with Jack Cartwright of Australia, 48.22. It's not the greatest time for Caleb, but he got on the World Championship team. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's first hear what Caleb had to say.
I mean, it's certainly not what I wanted, but I mean, I made the World's team for next year, so you know, it's been a kind of a weird, hectic year. So just kind of taking everything in stride, learning from it. So we got the job done to be able to do something fast next year. So that's really all I could hope for.
All right, so if you allow me, Amy, to put on my swim nerd hat. So I gotta explain to people how Caleb made this World Championship team. Because as you remember, Caleb got 6th at Nationals. So right now, he would not be able to swim the 100 freestyle. But the times from Nationals and the A final and the times from the A and B finals at Pan Pacific Championships get you on the World Championship team. That helps determine the World Championship team. So with Caleb's 48.22, he now has the 2nd fastest time among Americans from these 2 meets. Blake Peroni's 48.08 that he used to win Nationals is still the fastest. So it's now going to be Blake Peroni and Caleb Dressel swimming the 100 freestyle at Nationals. And you know what that means, the big elephant in the room, Nathan Adrian is not swimming the 100 freestyle at World Championships.
Right. This was blowing up on Twitter for both of us yesterday. And it's so crazy to say Nathan Adrian, A, did not make the A final, and Nathan Adrian, B, is now not swimming the 100 freestyle at World Championships. So it's crazy, but there is a couple of things I guess that maybe we need to talk about when we talk about Nathan Adrian. I mean, what do you think is going on here?
I don't know. He hasn't been swimming great this season. He hasn't been putting up any times that I've been looking at and say, okay, Nathan is going to be doing so well in the end of the season. And you saw at Nationals, he didn't win Nationals. And then here, he didn't make the A final. He made the B final, only went 48.3, didn't even win the B final. Blake Peroni went 48.2. So, you know, fortunately for Nathan, he's going to be able to swim the 400 free relay at Worlds because he's the 3rd fastest American. But I'm sure he would love to be able to swim that 100 freestyle because that has been his bread and butter for past 9 years.
Exactly. But another thing maybe that we need to look at is how this sets up for his 50 free.
Yes, I think he's very hungry in this 50 freestyle now because he wants to swim an individual event.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of work cut out for him because he's got Caleb Dressel and Michael Andrew are now ahead of him. And again, it's all based on time. So he's got to not only beat them in prelims to get into that A final where obviously I think the competition is highest and that he's more amped up, but he's got to put up a time that says I'm one of the top 2 and get on that World Championship team. And I think he's got a couple days to really think about this, process everything, and really work on that. And I really hope he does it. I think there's nobody in the United States or even in the world that's not rooting for Nathan Adrian.
No, absolutely. And so when you are rooting for him, I do want to say quickly that this is not the end of Nathan Adrian at all. This is just kind of a stumbling block, if you will. I mean, he's still going to be one of the best in the world. We will see him in 2020 for sure. I just feel that the lack of time that they have been able to adjust to the time in Tokyo and the food and the routine, all of that, I think that that's playing into this. And again, that's something that United States Swimming is going to have to go back and look at. Was this an appropriate way to choose the World Championship team?
Yeah.
Again, we'll be talking about it for a while.
Yeah, it's worked for some, it hasn't worked for others, and obviously you wanted to work for everybody. And obviously Lindsay Mintenko, the national team director, she's got some figuring out of what to do next. But it is what it is, and we're going to still have a very very strong national team for the World Championship next year.
No, absolutely. It's going to be spectacular. So just, this Nathan Adrian thing, it's okay. We're okay, everybody.
We're all right. We'll just take deep breaths.
That's right.
All right, so while we're going to take a few more deep breaths and take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk out of the water with Zack and Allison Schmitt.
I have the right to
respect,
safe relationships, and a positive environment. We stand together.
We are USA Swimming.
As a survivor of abuse, I urge all of us to prevent it in the future and become champions of safe sport.
The free 1-hour Club Leadership and Business Management School 101 course is a great online introduction to effective club governance. USA Swimming is providing this valuable resource to give information on how to run a swim club.
I've always loved Superman when I was little, and the place where I can pretend to be Superman still, even as a big kid, is in the water. Just being able to fly around and turn where I want to turn, and it was just an amazing feeling.
Welcome back, everybody, to Deck Pass Live. We're covering the Pan Pacific Championships. And one of the things about swimming that a lot of the spectators say is you don't really get to see the athletes because they have cap and goggles on. You don't really get to see their eyes, their faces are in the water, and you don't really get to know really who they are. But we're going to try to solve that for you right now. We're going to have a chat with a couple of famous athletes that are on the national team. Well, one famous one who we hope will be getting a lot more notoriety after this week. So we're going to start off with Zack, who swam the 200 butterfly day, which we'll talk about in a minute. But Zack has always been one of the funniest people. I've interviewed him a couple of times. He always makes me laugh. And take a look at this. He obviously made Caitlin Sandino laugh.
What do you like to do outside of the pool?
So I like to spend money with my friends on dumb stuff that we don't really need.
Like?
So we already had 2 couches in our house, but we got whiff of this deal that we could get another 2 couches for $75 for both of them. So now we have 4 couches in our living room. We don't have room for them. We also went to Walmart and thought it'd be a good idea to buy an inflatable pool for the backyard. I don't know if the landlord knows yet.
You just made me snort. I don't think I've ever snorted in an interview before. All right, so what can we add to this pool? You guys need to get those obnoxious inflatables?
Yeah, we got this really big. We got a couple big ones, and at one point in time, we went to the CVS or Walgreens right by our house, and we got a raft, and we called it the dinner raft, and we all took our dinners out and ate on top. And it wasn't very warm because we had just got it, so it's fresh from the hose, and we hadn't had the chance to put chlorine in it yet, so we're just kind of sitting in it, all right, we got a pool in our backyard. College. And we're trying to do as many, we're all right, so this is what normal college kids, this is what they would do. So we're really living the life there.
I love it. See, I feel like they could make a movie about you. What actor would you like to play you in this movie?
To play me?
Yeah, which actor think could be Zack?
Do they have to have blonde hair? All right.
No, just go for it.
I feel like Tom Cruise would be pretty cool. Tom Cruise, maybe Christian Bale would do a good job.
I could see that.
Kind of, yeah. But they'd have to, I don't know, maybe a comedian. A comedian would be good. Will Ferrell.
Oh, that's it right
there. If we could straighten his hair out, Will Ferrell would be great.
Do it.
That'd be awesome.
That's just funny. He just makes Caitlin laugh. He made me laugh just to hear all this stuff, just shenanigans in his house in Louisville.
Well, yeah, and I can definitely see Tom Cruise or Christian Bale playing him and swimming in an inflatable raft that they bought at CVS and eating dinner.
Yeah,
totally.
I mean, the water's cold, so I don't know how many actors want to get in, but Tom Cruise does his own stunts. He'd do it.
Why not? I tell you, let's go for it.
Yeah.
Some producer out there needs to get on this.
But if you're gonna have a life of a swimmer, you need somebody who is a swimmer, because you don't want to have those stunt people who look like they can swim. And I don't know if there are many. I think Timothy Oliphant. I don't know if you remember him from Deadwood, and he's on the Santa Clarita Diet show now. He was a swimmer. So maybe we could at least, if not be Zack, at least he could be swimmer Zack.
Right, and I think that'd be great, because I think all of the swimmers out there can agree with Jeff and I that when you watch someone who's a stunt swimmer, it is the most annoying thing in the history of ever, because you're like, you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
So get on
It
this.
does not look like you're a champion swimmer.
Not cute.
Especially the way to like breathe on freestyle. Like, no, stop it. Just stop it.
That's right.
All right, so another swimmer that we love that makes us laugh and smile,
Yeah.
Allison Schmitt, and she sat down with Caitlin Sando to talk about this drink that kind of made her a little bit loopy.
All right, so what is your go-to coffee order?
Oh, I don't drink coffee.
Oh, good to know. I didn't know that about you.
No, I don't
Tea?
drink caffeine.
No caffeine.
But, okay, so I have drank coffee maybe less than 10 times in my life.
Really?
And it just is more of a recent thing before swimming.
Does the coffee make you even more outgoing?
Oh, let me tell you the first time I drank coffee.
I would love to hear this.
At 2015 December Nationals,
Okay.
I had a coffee with 2 espresso shots in it. I was screaming the whole session. I think everybody in the session heard me screaming, "Woo! Woo!" I think every person was annoyed with me. I was told to shut up multiple times. I couldn't stop.
So you don't need caffeine. I think we could have all guessed
And
that.
then I laid down in bed. It was, at this point, it's like 10 o'clock. I turned to my roommate and said, "Just to let you know, if I don't wake up in the morning, it's because I had too much coffee and my heart's going too fast."
All right, lesson learned.
Lesson learned. Okay, listen. Here's the thing. I think that we need to keep Allison Schmitt away from Starbucks or Dutch Brothers or whatever, hashtag not sponsored, but we need to keep her away. But she's not been staying away from coffee. We just saw it. We looked at her Instagram story, and she was talking about how she spilled coffee all over her bed and her shoes. What's going on?
I don't know. Well, obviously, if she can't even hold a cup of coffee.
What's wrong?
Maybe just the thought of holding coffee just makes her get the jitters. And she spilled it all over her bed. They had the maids coming in and cleaning it. She had to clean her shoes. I mean, this is a disaster. We will never have her within 20 feet of anything coffee related. We promise you, Allison.
Right.
I can't believe that.
I can't. She's so funny, and I know I talked to her at Nationals, and she said that she was drinking a cup of coffee before the 200 freestyle. I was the person who always had a big, huge, you remember that, there was a big, huge jug of coffee, and I would chug it. Oh, spazzy. And still to this day, as you can tell, hashtag not sponsored, maybe too much Starbucks. But yeah, let's keep her away from the coffee.
But you're a 50 girl. You need that little jump.
I needed a little jolt, yes. And my start was always so slow, so I was hoping that would kind of, but it never, didn't do it.
That's okay. All right, so earlier we talked to Zack Harding. We're going to see him in the men's 200 butterfly when we come back.
I have the right to
respect,
safe relationships, and a positive environment. We stand together.
We are USA Swimming.
As a survivor of abuse, I urge all of us to prevent it in the future and become champions of safe sport.
I've got a great group of guys that I swim with, and I look forward to seeing the guys and laughing around with them and screaming across the pool at each other, stuff like that. That's the fun part for me, and that's kind of why I love coming into the water every single day.
All right, welcome back to Deck Pass Live. So we talked about all the hundreds that were swum on night 2 of the Pan Pacific Championships. It's time to talk about the 200, specifically the 200 butterflies. I get nervous. I start shaking when I think about 200 butterfly because these things hurt. So the men's 200 butterfly, we had the Americans Jack Conger and Zack Harding in the race. Now Zack was 8th at the 100. I think Jack was about 3rd at the 100. And here you don't even see Zack. I mean, you see Jack there. You see Zack's arms kind of coming into frame. You think there's no chance he can get a medal. But we got 25 meters left, and he has passed Jack. He's passed a lot of other people, and he's just reeling Leonardo de Deas in there on lane number 6, reeling him in, reeling him in, reeling him in. And you think right now he's got a chance. He's got a chance to get a medal. He might even get silver. Last little stroke just ran a little bit out of room, but that's a great swim for Zack to get 3rd. Diaceto wins the 200 butterfly. De Deas is 2nd. And there's Zack there for 155.05, a new personal best for him. And he talked about that race.
This is one of the best swims. This is a big swim for me. It's a big meet so far. I've only swam like 2 races, including that one. but that's a monumental shift mentally for the rest of my swimming career.
All right, the women's 200 butterfly, Haley Flickener was the top seed, and we were looking to see what she would do, especially after breaking Maritim Maher's U.S. Open record at Nationals, and she had the lead pretty much all the way through, but based on that time at the 150, I was pretty sure she was not going to break 206 again. And now she was just fighting for the medals with Katie Drabot there on her right, and then Mochida from Japan on her left, who was kind of pulling a Zack Harding there.
Yeah, and look at Haley Flickener, though. She's still getting her hips out of the water. You can tell that she's just throwing her arms by using her hips, and it's so nice to see someone be able to do this at the end of a 200 fly. But watch this. It's kind of looking a little bit tight right here, Jeff.
Yeah, Mochida, if she had one more stroke, she would have gotten Flickener there. 207.3, yeah, it's a little bit slower than she swam at Nationals, but, you know, she's doing okay. I think she'll take some lessons from that, and after the race, she told us kind of the lesson she'll learn from it.
I'm not particularly happy with that time. I was kind of shocked when I hit the wall and saw that, but it is what it is. I'm just having fun. Team USA, it's always an honor. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about that time. I'm just really happy to be here.
So tell me, you mentioned Team USA. What's the dynamic been coming?
So Team USA is really going to be in a good place in the 200 butterfly, and you know the 200 butterfly has not been a great event for the United States. I don't think the Americans have won a medal in the past 2 Olympics or World Championships, so got to get the United States on the medal stand. And Haley, I think, is in a good place to do that. She says the time's okay, but she knows that she's got to be in under 207 in order to get a medal.
Right, and here's the thing. I loved that interview because I loved how honest she was. She was surprised by the time. She wasn't happy with the time, but she loves the camaraderie with Team USA, which is really what it's all about.
Yeah, and just really quickly, so Haley's a veteran on the international scene. We got a couple of newcomers on the men's 200 butterfly. Justin Wright from his time from Nationals, and then Zack Harding, as we said, both going to their first World Championship, so congratulations to those two. All right, so the night finished up with the 800 freestyle relay. Let's talk about that men's 800 free relay, and here we are at the final 50, Australia and the United States. We have Jack Cartwright for Australia, who was the silver medalist in the 100 free, and Townley Haas there, who has been the guy that the United States goes to for the anchor leg now in the 800 free relay. And Townley came in about 3 seconds behind, or 2 seconds behind Jack Cartwright on the dive, and here he is fighting for that finish. I just love to see this. Townley really fighting. That last stroke, put the head down, and he got the win for the United States. 7:04, pretty good time. It's mediocre in terms of how it can be on the world stage, because next year at the World Championships, Great Britain, they're going to be strong. They're really going to be strong. Great swim for Townley, though, 143 on the end. And we caught up with a couple other swimmers on the relay, Zack Apple and Blake Caroni.
When I dove in, we were a little bit behind, so I was just trying to make sure to have a solid race, not put it all in the first 50, and kind of make sure we had a good spot for Townley to come in at the end.
Yeah. So obviously we don't want to give our anchor leg a huge lead or a huge deficit, but that's kind of how it happened. Watching the women's race kind of got us pumped up, but it was what it was. And I had total faith in Townley, and he came through with a pretty epic anchor leg in 143.
So Blake was talking about the getting motivated by the women's team, and the women's relay, unfortunately, could not get the gold medal. Little Katie Ledecky, 153.8 on the end. It's a very good swim for her, but just not enough to get over the Australians, 7:44.12 to 7:44.37. And I know there's got to be some motivation for the United States to get on the top of the medal podium next year at Worlds.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know that they will. But when you look at this and you go back and you look at the tape, and I know you've watched it. When you see that, what was the problem with the women's 800 free relay?
Well, to be honest, it was Allison Schmitt. I mean, the leadoff swimmer, she was 158.37 on the leadoff, and she was 156 on the individual 200 freestyle. Right. So if she had just swum her time from yesterday, the Americans would have won easily, and they would have been within an arm's length of the world record, which I know they've been studying for a long time, trying to beat that world record from China. So I really hope that they can really study this and say, okay, we got to put together the right pieces, and all 4 ladies can really do this, because Leah Smith and Katie McLaughlin did very well. It was just, Allison just needed to have that boost to be able to give her those 2 seconds.
Well, maybe Allison needed some coffee. You never know.
I
right?
guess she did. Maybe in this one instance, she needed a little cup of coffee.
That's right.
All right, day 3 finals. Look at that lineup. This is going to be another exciting day. We got the women's and men's 400 free, the 100 fly, 200 IM. Katie Ledecky is going to be starting things off as she did on night one. We'll see how she can rebound from the big swims that she had. You know, that big double on night one. I think she's going to be excited because she only has one race.
Right, exactly. And then we've got Caleb Dressel as well. We're going to see him, and we're going to see if his 100 butterfly can be a little bit better than his 100 freestyle.
Yeah, he definitely has to get back on the top of the podium, and I know he's hungry for that. So thanks, everybody, for joining us on Deck Pass Live today. Be sure to join us tomorrow. We'll talk about night 3 beginning at 1 p.m. Eastern at usaswimming.org. See you guys tomorrow.